Tony Lewis for cricket.
Yes, welcome to this Benson and Hedges Cup semi-final match, Yorkshire against Surrey. Time has come to sort out who will be at Lord's in the final, competing for that Benson and Hedges Cup and a prize money of £20,000. Two excellent teams involved here today who both won all their group matches. Yorkshire, led by Phil Carrick, have a side of sprightly seamers, Jarvis and Sidebottom, the leading bowlers there, and Moxon, Metcalf and Blakey, young batsmen, all in good form. And Surrey, led by Ian Gregg, have Alex Stewart backing their side, fit again, David Smith up to open the batting, and the man lurking at the bottom there, Sylvester Clarke, whom every batsman in the country fears. Well, everything at Headingley depends on the weather, does it not? We had a delayed start. Play began, in fact, after overnight rain at 2 o'clock this afternoon. The toss was won by Surrey, who put Yorkshire into bat, and we'll join the Yorkshire innings in the second over. The score was 3 for no wicket, and David Thomas is bowling to Ashley Metcalf.
And that's a fine shot there by Metcalf. Big past Trevor Jesty mid-off, and no real point in running for that. Beautifully timed.
Well, a long half volley here. Metcalf straight onto it, pounces. Just 4 runs from the moment it left the bat.
Quick run called for, but no hesitation, both batsmen going, and Alex Stewart at cover there, not quite managing to field the ball. Otherwise it could have been pretty tight. Son of the England manager there. Moxon off the mark. Nice straight drive there. Not a very quick outfield, and they'll just take the 3 runs there.
Well, Thomas over pitching again.
And it's Sylvester Clarke who is bowling to Martin Moxon. Certainly beaten on that occasion.
Well, Clarke is Surrey's danger man, and here we see why. Left hand movement there.
Certainly a good delivery there. Martin Moxon beaten again. There was a shout, possibly just clipping the pad on the way through. Great. A lot of movement there for Sylvester Clarke. As I said, this wicket is quite damp and the seam will grip a little bit, and you saw Sylvester Clarke there getting a lot of movement. Metcalf going for the big drive there and making no contact.
Well, twice we've seen Thomas over pitching and disappearing wide of a very wide Trevor Jesty at mid-off, and there he's looking for the gap again.
Oh, that was a beautifully timed stroke there. Just turned away and it sped away to the mid-wicket boundary. Beautiful shot by Metcalf.
Well, the shot of the innings so far. Ashley Metcalf's let that ball come onto him, and look at that, just flicked away in front of square. One of the 2 slips already going, so that's point number 1, I think, to Yorkshire.
No ball called again. This is one part of the one-day game that you've got to get right. You have 2 or 3 overs given away by no balls and wides, and at the end of the game, it's the difference between winning and losing. We are getting a change at the football stand end. The young Martin Bicknell is replacing Sylvester Clark. And a beautiful stroke there by Martin Moxon. And a very good stop down there by Dave Thomas on the boundary. Certainly a very nice follow through there. Foot right forward to the pace of the pitch of the ball.
But Yorkshire going very nicely, and Surrey having to ring the changes here to try and upset them. 27-0 Yorkshire, off only 9 overs.
And it's Ian Gregg now coming on at the Kirkstall lane in to bowl to Ashley Metcalf. Straight away, driven straight. Probably a couple of runs in that. Another fine stroke there, whipped away through mid-wicket. That could well be 4 runs there, yes. Long chase for Sylvester Clark, but no chance of stopping it. Beautifully timed stroke again.
Yes, straight drive, and now this one just pitching well. He pitched around off, and he's really picked his spot there. That was real quality stuff.
Good stroke play going on out there in this opening stand. Taller of the 2 men, Martin Moxon.
Yes, this is the strength of Moxon's batting. He's very good off his legs. Oh, what a beauty. Well, young Bignell getting one right on the mark there, just moving it away. I think it went away a little in the air. That bodes very well. Just started to go in the air and it's gone off the pitch. What a beauty. That'll get a lot of good batsmen out.
Sylvester Clark is not the most mobile of fielders away from the wicket. He's a good gully, but I doubt if even someone of extreme brilliance would have cut that off. I think that's a fair indication of what we were talking about earlier in the over, that Gregg has real problems at the moment in getting the ball away from leg stump.
Perhaps he was right, because these seamers are getting knocked around the place. Another beautiful drive up down the onside. Well saved, but still 3 runs. Dramatic slide there by Captain England.
The old double dive trick. First of all, it was Ian Gregg. Thomas knew that he was going to try and flick it back in some way. Trevor it will be at the Kirkstall Lane end. Caught. Metcalf has gone. Good sharp catch. Thomas at mid-wicket. Jesty strikes. The sort of ball Gregg has seen smashed away to the onside boundary. This time it's picked up by the fielder. The break has come for Surrey. It's 53 for 1. with Metcalf caught by Thomas off Jesty.
Well, the wicket's gone to Jesty. Credit of a sort to him. Greater credit to Dave Thomas for a good catch. Also credit to skipper Ian Gregg, who had the wit to take himself off.
53 for 1, 15.3 gone so far. Metcalf made 27, Moxon 22. New batsman Richard Blakey. Oh, just put it down. And I thought for a moment he'd clung onto it almost long enough. Like Stewart it is.
Well, this isn't perhaps quite as bad a drop as it looks in a way, because he's actually made a hell of a lot of ground to that ball. He was so quick.
Here's Bicknell. Very big ground, Headingley, and even with this slowish outfield, it moves across pretty quickly. Bullen has done himself a bit of damage out there.
It was a marvellous stop, but he ended up crashing into the fence.
To me, as though he was waiting for that. Chance of young Bicknell getting a little tired. Thomas will be hoping they only ran 2 there.
I think somewhere along the line, Yorkshire are going to have to try to break this stranglehold, which Gregg is slowly strengthening.
That's a start. A beautiful stroke there by Martin Moxon through extra cover. Ian Gregg diving full length, but not quite able to get to it.
Well, Jesty hasn't given the batsman much, but this one was a bit of length and a bit of width there, full length and wide enough for Martin Moxon to go straight through with a stroke and 4 good runs. I think Chris Bullen coming on to bowl.
That's out, and that's the problem we talked about on this slow wicket. You better really, if you're going to go for it, going for the big one, hit it straight back over the top of the ball, but just trying to drive on the floor and giving a comfortable return catch there to Chris Bullen.
Well, this is the virtue of Bullen's flight, because there's no attempt to dig it in one-day cricket. Drawing Richard Blakey into a drive, and not the sort of pitch, really, which you can trust yourself too much on the front foot.
Kevin Sharp being left-hander, so Surrey will now have to bowl a left-hander and right-hander, and that does seem to help push the score along on many occasions. And that's a fine stroke there by Martin Moxon again, through extra cover, and no doubt about that being 4.
Martin Moxon's been struggling a little on the offside, but this gave him plenty of room, and he's picked his spot there.
And Kevin Sharp dispatching that, a full toss through mid-wicket for 4 runs. He'll be very grateful for that.
Well, the second very bad ball of Bullen's over. He dropped one very short first ball, which Martin Moxon didn't put away, but Kevin Sharp's cottoned onto that big, steady old full toss.
And just to give it a little bit of width there, and Martin Moxon flat batting that over extra cover, and that's his 50, and that's a pretty good innings in not easy batting conditions.
Yes, well, this the way the field is set suggests he's going to have a little run to hit the ball. That was very wide, and perhaps Moxon's most aggressive shot of the day brings him his 50. 101 balls, 5 fours. An important innings.
Again, well, obviously, they struggle to get it finished now today. Tea will be taken at 4:30. So it's very doubtful if we'll get the full 55 overs of each side if needed in today. Oh, that's a fine catch there. Monty Lynch, Kevin Sharp coming down the wicket, trying to hit it straight. Slight outside edge, but a beautiful catch there, one-handed by Monty Lynch.
Well, Chris Bullen's deserved that wicket because twice in this over he's had very sharp chances go down. One to himself and one by Ian Gregg, and here we see Sharp making room, trying to hit it this side of the wicket, leg side, leading edge. Looks as though it's clearing Lynch. There, a marvellous one-handed pluck down. Really was a very agile piece of fielding and did well to hold on to it as he fell to the ground. So many of those catches, when taken, they tend to spill out when the fielder hits the ground. But that was a lovely effort, and who knows how important that catch will be at the end of this match.
David Bairstow, the Yorkshire wicketkeeper, made 100 in the last match. He's the incoming batsman.
And another one down. Well, they really are having plenty of problems, Surrey, out there with their catching. Taken one or two very good ones, but some have gone to ground. Good judgment on Bairstow's part. Sylvester Clarke is back.
Sylvester Clarke there, lining up Moxon on his leg stump, and with only 3 fielders on that onside, that's Moxon's great strength.
Very dangerous man, David Bairstow. Well bowled. Hasn't got all that much experience, Chris Bullen, but that was clever.
Well, this is a good duel because all the experience of David Bairstow, the ball before that, he tried a little footwork shimmy, but Bullen wasn't having any, and there fired it in well up, the attempted sweep.
Put away very fine. Sylvester Clarke gives up the chase. No chance of cutting that off. Well done by Bairstow.
So Chris Bicknell from the football Sunderland to Martin Moxon. That's a good shot there, but 2 or 3 runs it. Ian Gregg chasing it, and not as quick as usual at Headingley. Yep, they're going to be looking for another run there. David Bairstow really having to hurry, but very well run indeed there. That's just what we're talking about. This time, bit of width. It was a full toss, but if it had been straight, he's got a long off out there. Well wide, and David Bairstow getting it square on the offside for 4 runs.
It's too wide offside. You can't give batsmen room. They get too much leverage on it. Hit it too hard. So the 50 partnership between these two coming off only 63 balls. Yorkshire going well.
And again, exactly the same thing. Plenty of width, and David Bairstow getting that just behind square again. He has got to bowl straight, otherwise there's a very big gap there. Clark's figures there, as you can see, 7 overs, 2 maidens, 14 runs, no wickets, but that's pretty impressive bowling in one-day cricket. But a bit short on that occasion, and David Bairstow dispatching that away through mid-wicket. This time he stepped away and flashed at that, and oh, that's a tremendous shot there. Almost going for 6 onto the biggest boundary in the ground over point.
That was really quick work there. He's just made room for himself. And what an eye. Because there was a quick ball and it went even quicker to the boundary.
There's a shout, and David Bairstow's been given out there, caught behind the wicket. Certainly a vital wicket for Surrey, because David Bairstow in this mood in the last few overs could certainly have cracked 30 or 40 runs. But it's been a very fine innings there by the Yorkshire wicketkeeper. Made 45 in very brisk time. Run well between the wickets and kept Martin Moxon going as well. Made 45 from 45 balls in 56 minutes with 7 fours. Tremendous performance there by the Yorkshire wicketkeeper.
Well, I wasn't quite sure which side of the bat this went, and I'm still not quite sure whether he was given out court or LBW. We'll only know that perhaps once the umpires and the scorers get together. Might have been given out LBW.
Shout there for caught behind. And a long delay, and eventually David Constant gave him out. So a disappointment there for Martin Moxon. 97. He's played very well. The wicket it's never been easy to play on, never easy to make runs quickly. And he's done a great job there for Yorkshire.
Martin Moxon has paced that very well. Took part in a good opening stand, and then when the wickets were falling, he held the innings together and then accelerated very well. Quite a delay here in the decision being given. Inside edge. And I think in the end it was almost Martin Moxon being prepared to go there that swayed the umpire in giving him out.
There's Phil Carrick, the Yorkshire captain, at the wicket now. Phil Carrick there, looks like he had a bit of helmet damage on the left ear. Out, looking if you're going to there, probably cut the ball away, probably came back at him. And just a nice little soft catch to mid-wicket there, David Smith.
So that ball did bounce a little bit higher than one. Bounced and stopped, I would say, on Carrick, going for a big hit.
Yes, probably the only thing that's encouraging for Yorkshire is that young Martin Bicknell does seem to have got the ball to move around off the seam more in the last 2 or 3 overs, and certainly the odd one just digging in and stopping a bit. So that will be at least encouraging for the Yorkshire seamers. One of who's just come to the wicket now, Andy Sidebottom. And there's a shout for LBW, and he's got him. Full toss on the foot, first ball. So Yorkshire really falling away badly here at the moment. And a tremendous piece of bowling here by young Bicknell.
Well, the perfect first ball, right up in the block hole, swinging in, bang on the foot. And the umpire's got every reason to give that one out.
So 3 wickets in 4 balls in that over from Martin Bicknell. 3 for 29 in 11, and that's a tremendous piece of bowling by the young man.
2 wickets in his last 2 balls. Not allowed to go on and get a hat-trick because he has bowled his 11. Now that may never happen again in his whole career, and he's done it when he's 18. 2 wickets for his last 2 balls.
Dave Thomas now coming back at the football stand then. He's had no luck at all at the Kirksall raid then, but he'll be hoping for better things here. And Jim Love's gone for a big one there, and he's connected, and that's right into pavilion. Picked up the length ball on leg stump, and 6 runs.
Well, it's just not Dave Thomas's day here, because actually that was the right sort of line, but just perhaps too short. And Jim Love's picked it up absolutely perfectly off the meat, straight into the pavilion. Absolute cracker. There's not much margin for error now for Thomas. He's got to pitch it up, hold it straight.
He's gone for another big one, and that's going straight, and that's in the football stand. So certainly middling that one as well. A marvellous straight 6 there. Not hit with a straight bat, but certainly very effective.
Well, this time he's given him too much room on the offside. And Jim Love's a big, strong fellow with a good, clean swing of the bat. He's always had a lot of ability, Jim Love. Always a good timer of the ball.
Surrey now having to change their field. They've had to fetch 3rd man up to have 4 inside the circle, so that long on and long off can go back. And he's gone for another big one, and that's another huge 6 there, right into the stand at the far side there. Marvellous shot over mid-off there by Jim Love. I think he's certainly made his mind up. He's not going to get too many off Sylvester Clarke, and Dave Thomas has therefore got to go.
Well, he'll have to get it right up in the block hole now, because even if he bowls a good length, he's going to go. But there's only one defence against this sort of batting, and that is right up on the batsman's toes. Well, that's 3 sixes in 3 balls, 3 more to go. Sobers his record of 6 in 6. It was also against a left-arm bowler.
A fine shot, but it's straight to extra cover on the boundary, and just a single. The Yorkshire score now, having moved on to 216 for 7. Jimmy Love on 21 with those 3 huge sixes the last over, and just 2 overs remaining now. That's 4 more runs. Beautiful shot of his legs there by Jim Love.
Really wonderful shot, because he was looking to make room to hit it on the offside. Sylvester Clark did the right thing, followed him, bowled his legs, and Jim Love still had time to just ease it off his legs.
Well, Jim Love really opening the face there, and he certainly played that. Got it over point for 4 runs.
Yes, this is where an experienced and good, strong player can come in handy. He knows what he's doing, Jim Love, making room for himself, and Thomas's pace seems just made for him.
Full toss, but that's all right, and Jim Love did it well, and they'll get a 2 for it as Ian Gregg fields it down at long on. Magnificent stroke, and it bounced about a yard short of 6. Graham Clinton tried to get behind it, but it jumped, hit him on the shoulder, and went over for 4 runs.
Well, not many people can hit full tosses from quick bowlers as hard as this. He's given it the full swing of the bat and just sort of pulverized it for 4.
Misfield there by Sylvester Clark, and 2 more runs, and well played by Jim Love there. He played that, tried to get down to the 3rd man boundary where there's no fielder, and but for a diving stop that would have been 4 more. So David Thomas having a real struggle here today. Doesn't matter where he seems to bowl it, full toss, Yorker, short. Everything seems to have gone at the moment for him. A bit of field place changing now. Monty Lynch is going out to the long off boundary, where Graham Clinton had a struggle to try and stop the last one. And Jim Love going for the big one again, and gets it in the end of the bat. And that's the Yorkshire is completed. 238. So they'll be pretty satisfied with that. It's been a slow outfield. The wicket's been pretty damp. And you can see all the Yorkshire players there came out on the boundary to give Jim Love a big hand. He's played tremendously well there. The total is 239 to win, at 4.34 per over. So that'll take a bit of getting on this wicket. It's been a damp wicket. It's done a little bit for the seamers. The odd ball just turned a bit. And that's a pretty good Yorkshire batting performance. There you see the Yorkshire team giving Jim Love a well-deserved hand there.
The final score then, 238 for 7 of their 55 overs, a much better score than was once promised when 3 wickets fell on the score of 190. But then that amazing performance by Jim Love, 3 sixes straight over the boundary, and destruction of 2 of the bowlers on the Surrey side, Ian Gregg and Dave Thomas. Their 11 overs bowled jointly, conceding 91 runs. So an exciting contest, and who would dare predict what happens tomorrow? Just take a look at the confirmed bowling figures. There we are. Sylvester Clark, very tidy indeed. 11 overs, 1 for 38. But the two who got away, Dave Thomas, 0 for 17 is 8. Andy and Greg went for 21 off 3. So Surrey requiring 239 to win the match and a run rate quite modest, 4.35 runs per over. But Surrey had just over an hour to bat, an awkward stage for them, and the Yorkshire crowd certainly had something to shout about.
And the first wicket goes down. David Smith trying to hit down the ground, got what I suspect is a thickish inside edge, and out to Fletcher at mid-on. Side bottom has struck. 19 for 1 Surrey. David Smith, the man out for Fletcher. And Surrey's first problem.
David Smith rightly looking disappointed there. Caught at mid-on for 5. We see it. He tries to hit through this. It's not that sort of pitch, really, until a batsman's well and truly in. Never up there. Also a bit wide of off stump. Fairly comfortable catch in the end. Nicely taken, but not really the shrewdest of strokes on this pitch.
19 for 1 from 5.1 overs. Alex Stewart is the new batsman. Injury stopped him playing in any of the early matches of this B&H competition. Close, even closer. On a hat-trick on his side bottom, as indeed was young Martin Bicknell, but Bicknell was robbed of it because his last wicket came from the last ball of his 11th over. Side bottom has a chance. Alex Stewart, in his first innings in this competition, goes first ball.
Side bottom's line now, bang on target. That one nipping back, half forward. Very confident appeal there from keeper and bowler. And umpire Birkinshaw didn't take long to make his mind up.
And there's a shout, and he's been given out. Yes, fine piece of fielding by Ashley Metcalf. And Monty Lynch didn't look to be going flat out in that last yard, but the umpire, David Constance, had no hesitation in giving him out. So that's a bad blow for Surrey, and certainly one of the wickets that Yorkshire really wanted.
One more look at this. We'll see him a little bit slow to take off, but then gets into his stride. A good swoop and a quick return there from Ashley Metcalf. Stump's broken, and even from this foreshortened angle, I think we can see that good decision from umpire Constant.
So 41 for 3 after 17 overs, and much depending on Clinton, the not-out batsman, and the stroke makers Jesty, Richards and Gregg. Now, all the Yorkshire bowlers enjoyed the conditions here. A little bit of movement off the pitch. The seamers especially did very well indeed. Arnold Sidebottom, his 2 wickets for just 11 runs, and even Phil Carrick, the captain, got the odd ball to turn. So it's an exciting situation here for Yorkshire, prospect of a possible win, but much has happened so far in this match, a bit of a seesaw. Surrey need 198 runs to win now, 7 wickets standing, but the run rate's gone up, 5.21 per over required. We've had news from Canterbury, and that's good news for followers of Northants. They got 279 for 5 to win, with just 2 balls to spare in a most exciting match. Alan Lamb, the hero there, 126 not out. So, off Northants go to Lords. That's one side settled, and we'll have to wait until tomorrow to settle the issue here between Surrey and Yorkshire. Unfortunately, we will not be covering this game for you. All crew and equipment race off to cover the election. So our next visit will be to Lords, and that's for the second Test match next Thursday. So, from me...